Welcome to Reality Bites. Here we are at the center of the universe here in Orland Park with Chicago Southland TV. And I'm delighted to have my good friend, President Don Manning, South Suburban College. You couldn't tell it, but he's got the great shirt on. And one of us is going to have that shirt before you leave tonight. But anyhow, Don Manning, President of South Suburban College. We're going to talk about him close up and personal, his life, his family, and his legacy. So I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you so much, President Manning, for being a part of Reality Bites. This is exciting stuff. So I'm going to start off with the first question, and this is a toughie. Tell me about you, your life, your legacy. But how in the heck did you become the president of South Suburban College? Where did you start? Where were you born, first off?
Well, actually, I'm a South Side native, South Suburban native. I was born in Oak Forest, Illinois, and I actually went to Carl Sandburg High School, which is right down the street here, and I went to Northern Illinois University. I met my wife, who grew up in Dalton, and I applied to South Suburban College in 1990, and I started out basically as a custodian, and I was swinging a mop. And I worked my way up through the ranks, and I was blessed that South Suburban College gave me the wherewithal to be able to go to school and get my credentials. And at some point, an opportunity became available, and roughly about 25 years later, I became the president of South Suburban College, and I'm very proud of that.
My goodness, and congratulations to you, my friend. But you started off in the custodial department. You were slopping a mop.
Pretty much. That's my story.
How in the world would you say, I'll go out and I'll just do some manual labor, and then were you thinking about, look, I'm cleaning up after this guy, the president before, or guy or gal, I'm not sure which. That's what I want to do when I grow up. What was your thought when you started slopping the mop?
David, I've never really thought that I would be in this position that I'm in right now, but I always had kind of a trajectory, and I just worked hard, and I went to school and got my credentials, and pretty much the rest is history. And I like to tell that story to young people especially, that there are a lot of folks that want to go right to the top quickly, but I believe that you should really start from the bottom and work your way up, because it kind of gives you a perspective to understand what the organization is about, and more importantly, I think what it takes in terms of hard work and getting to the top.
My goodness, President Manning, that is a good story. And I am not kidding. You have to spread that story across the land, because so many kids today, I think they want to come out of college and say, look at me, look at me. But you did it from the ground up, and that's awesome. So how in the world, from a custodial position, you think your wife was even attracted to you?
Well,
she came from
I actually met my wife before I started working at the college, and like me, my wife kind of started at the bottom. She's a project manager right now for Thornton Township, and she started out at a lower level. Her and I actually met in the restaurant business, and we're doing a lot of kind of dirty, nasty kinds of jobs, and then these opportunities presented themselves, and both of us have just worked hard and worked our way up, and we're proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And we kind of have passed that along to our children, and we hope that they follow the same trajectory that we have followed.
Wow, that's awesome. And President Manning, you're wearing a white shirt today, so apparently things are starting to work out. But and thank goodness for your wife for hooking up with you. Tell us about your family and your kids.
Well, I met Jill in the early 80s, and as I said, we met at a restaurant, and where we had both worked.
The restaurant still in business? You care to give them a shameless plug?
Well, it's actually Brown's Chicken. It was a Brown's Chicken Shack.
Okay.
That's where we met early on.
Ding, ding, ding! Brown's Chicken!
Yeah, and if they're still in existence, and I believe they are, but that's where we met, and I actually, as I said, I was born and raised in Oak Forest, and I met her, and then I was kind of transplanted from Oak Forest out to Dalton. We lived in Dalton for about 10 years, and then we moved over to South Holland in 1995, and I have two children. My son Tim is 30 years old, and my daughter Caitlin is 23, and they're both working good jobs. And again, we lived in the south suburbs, and we raised them in the south suburbs, and we're proud of everything that we've accomplished and what they've done.
Awesome. So let me talk about Caitlin for a second, because I know that she's gone into the teaching career, right? Mm-hmm. So even though were you ever a teacher?
Actually, I have taught at South Suburban College. Before I became the president, I taught for about 10 years. I taught political science courses and management courses, and quite honestly, if I could get the same rate of pay as I get as the president teaching, I would do that, because I love being in the classroom. I love interacting with students, and what's really cool about South Suburban College is a lot of our students are returning adults. The average age of a student at South Suburban College is 30 years of age, so
wow.
when you're in the classroom as an instructor, you're interacting with adults who have had experiences in life, and they can bring stuff to the classroom to share with the rest of the class, which is really kind of cool.
That is special. So Caitlin, who is now an instructor at, I don't think you told me, but down in Grant Park, Illinois, right?
She is.
And she's in the middle school there, or the high school?
She is her first year as a sixth grade English teacher at the Grant Park
So you have to help me. Is that middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm new to this.
Uh-huh.
All right. So awesome. So she's following in the footsteps, but you really did it first, and that's just awesome that you set the tone. But so how did you go from instructor to management?
Well, actually, I was teaching while I was in management. So
okay.
I was doing those things simultaneously, but when I got my master's degree in 1985, one of my goals was I wanted to get in the classroom. That's just something that I always wanted to do, and I was so glad that I was able to do that. I wish I could still do that, but in my current role, I'm just too busy to do that kind of thing, but someday I hope to get back in the classroom, because again, it's so rewarding to be able to interact with people, and every once in a while when you're teaching, you look out and you see a student getting that kind of light bulb moment where you're teaching a concept and you can see in their eyes that they get it. That's really cool. That's the coolest thing about being a teacher, really.
Very great. Because, I want to just say right now that the one reason I wanted to have President Don Manning, and I want to talk about your presidency, but this is one gentleman that I've known in the Southland over the years that really exudes the atmosphere. Says, I just want to help people get where they get to their potential, reach their potential, and do so many things. And I've had a lot of time with you through programs that you've done to help share this out across the community. So I know you run a community college, and I want to talk about the community college system in the state of Illinois for a while, if we could, because you're South Suburban College, we have Prairie State College, we have Moraine Valley College. Explain to us how the community college system works, please. And because, we have also Joliet Junior College, which is the very first one in Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. So can you talk about that for just a second?
Well, the thing about community colleges is it's pretty much open access. Students have to certainly have to test, and they have to meet certain requirements to get in, but it's a lot more open than other colleges and universities. And one of the things about community colleges is that we provide a lot of short-term programs whereby people can literally go to school for one semester and get a short-term certificate to get a real job. And that's a little bit different than a long-term degree. Now, we offer associate's degrees, and that's very important, but a lot of the folks in the South Suburban College community, they need to get employment quick. And that's what we provide. And we work with the Chicago Southland Chamber of Commerce and other business partners to have them explain to us what they need in terms of workforce, and that's what we do. We provide workforce development, workforce training, and we get people prepared to go into the workforce quickly.
Awesome. So what's the history? How long, again, South Suburban College?
South Suburban College has been in existence since 1927. Joliet Junior College.
And you didn't start there, right?
I did not.
Okay.
I have not
I just
been.
want to make sure of that.
Yeah, I wasn't even a gleam in anybody's eye at that time. Yeah,
right.
not even.
So Joliet Junior College.
But
was
Joliet
the first
Junior College was the first community college in the state of Illinois, roughly early 1900s, and the community college system really kind of came into its own in the 1960s and into the 70s. And again, really the crux of community colleges.
Baby boomer time?
Baby boomer time. But really the main component of community colleges is easier access for everybody, because before that time it was pretty much for universities and it was very exclusive and not many people could get into it, whereby community colleges provide access to many more people in the community to be able to get a credential, to get a better job, and provide a better way of life for themselves and their families.
Good, good. So you have a district. South Suburban College has a district, and it's a geographic boundary. Can you explain that a little bit? I think you're already starting to, but can you give me a little more illumination on that?
Well, by statute, there's 39 community colleges in the state of Illinois, and
39,
by statute, they are set up by district. Now, our district, South Suburban College, to the north is City of Chicago, to the south roughly is about Linwood, to the east is Indiana, and to the west is roughly about Harlem Avenue and Tinley Park. Now, we do market to Northwest Indiana, and we actually provide special rates to folks in Northwest Indiana if they want to come to South Suburban College.
Awesome. So in the great state of Illinois, we've got 39 community college districts. What if you live in a community that doesn't have a community college? What happens?
Well, every district in every area in Illinois does have a community college district, but one of the things is that there may be programs that our community college district may not provide, and if you go to another community college, you can get an in-district rate taking a program that we don't provide at South Suburban College, for instance. And that's kind of a nice setup that, for instance, if students in the South Suburban College district are interested in culinary arts, being a chef, we don't offer that at South Suburban College, but if they wanted to, they could go to Joliet Junior College, which has a very robust culinary arts program, and they can take that program at the in-district rate that a South Suburban College student would pay.
Good. So you're helping the students get access. So thinking about the history of South Suburban College, and I know you have been very, very open to saying, you know, some of our students aren't going to really be from our district. Some of our employers that need students aren't going to be necessarily in our district. So you've done some very innovative things. Can you expound on any of that at all for a second? I know you've had outreach, you've done some public hearings, you've done a lot of things that I think say, you know, we understand the world has changed, and we are opening up our doors. So can you speak to that for a second?
Well, you know, David, you were part of our strategic planning exercise that we embarked on roughly about 3 or 4 years ago. And we reached out to the chambers and to our business partners, and essentially what we ask our business partners is, what do you need? What do you need us to do to prepare the workforce? And frequently we get a lot of feedback from our business partners telling us not only are they looking for folks that have the technical skills, but they're looking for people that have the soft skills. And I have to be honest with you, that's something that we're grappling with right now, is that, and I just had this conversation today with one of our instructors, who is also the president of our faculty association, our union, is how do we teach students basic soft skills of getting to work on time and teamwork and multitasking and those kinds of things. So that's a real challenge for us, and I recognize that we need to do a better job at South Suburban College and in higher education in general of trying to get students to understand that this thing that they're doing of going to college, this is an exercise for them to be able to go and get a job. And we have to give them more than just technical skills. We have to teach them some of the soft skills that they're going to need to be able to thrive in the real world.
There's a new term today. It's not soft skills, but it's that skill set that says, really, if you're going to get out of bed, we need to get you there. And so what is that? You know the phraseology for that? It's not soft skills, but bottom line is, we need people to be real, right? And we need potential employees to say, I have to do something to get the job. I'm not entitled to a job just because I'm alive, right? And I can breathe and I can get up. So, well, you know, thank you for what you do, because you're doing great stuff. How long have you been at South Suburban College again?
It's going to be close to 30 years.
30 years. You don't look that old. I see a little gray in there, but I think you're just trying to be more like me.
Yeah.
But, so what's the future hold for community colleges in Illinois and the nation? What do you think?
Well, I
This is
think
President Don Manning's personal opinion.
well, you know,
Not the community college, or your opinion.
yeah. Well, one of the big issues out there right now is student loan debt. And there are folks out there that are in 40s and 50s that are still paying thousands and thousands of dollars of student loan debt. And the community colleges can really provide credentials and training at a much more reasonable rate than other entities can do. And I think that the community colleges are going to really become the epicenter of short-term training for people. I mean, I don't ever want to discount the value of a liberal arts degree. That's really important. I mean, people need to have a well-rounded education to be successful in life, but right now the bottom line is people need to get jobs and they need to get them quick. You know, our goal is at South Suburban College is that we want these students to get a short-term certificate to be able to get a job right now so that they can survive, but then keep that momentum going. We want them to get the bachelor's degree, we want them to get the master's degree, we want them to get the doctorate, because I've had students that come to me. We have a program at the college that we are training women and minorities to get jobs in the road construction trades. And at one of the meetings that I was at, I asked the students, I said, so does anybody here want to own their own construction firm someday? And of course everybody raised their hand, and I said, well, you know what, that's cool, but this training that you're getting right now that's going to get you in on the ground floor, that's not good enough. Once you get this training, you have to prove yourself to the employer, and then maybe the employer, seeing that you're a good employee, will underwrite your continuing education and allow you to go on and get your associate, your bachelor's, your master's, so then someday you can own your own construction firm. So that's the future of community colleges, getting the students in, getting them a job quickly, but then encouraging them to go on and get more credentials so that they can elevate themselves.
So lifelong learning is a reality.
Indeed, it is.
It's great. So, well, you're doing awesome work, and so thank you for what you do there for the past 30 years. I can't believe you've been there for 30 years. But, you know, Mark and I are going to want the shirt. So anyhow, I want to just make a shameless plug here for Tower Construction, because they help sponsor everything that we do, and they make, because you know what they need? They need qualified employees to help their business grow, right? Mm-hmm. I think that every person you touch, every business you touch, they need qualified people too. So in the future, you know, you have a pressure-packed job. You know, I think in the real world that people think that you know, college people, instructors, teachers in general, they don't work a real full-time job. They got some time off, they got the holidays, but you, my friend, I know you work hard every day of the week and of the month. What do you do for recreation?
We know. I just want to, before I talk about that, I do want to say that that's a misconception that teachers have it easy, because it's really not easy. Because
no, I didn't say. My opinion, though, right? It's not my opinion.
But you know what? I have to defend my family, and my daughter, in that's a really hard job.
Grant Park.
And admittedly, you know, we get, as educators, we get the holidays and stuff like that. But you know, it's an intense job. I mean, you have folks that are coming in, and in many cases, they're not prepared.
Right.
And so, in many cases, teachers have to take these students and try to make them something that, you know, it's a difficult occupation. So I just wanted to say, I just want to clarify that teachers do have a tough job. And you know what? I give all the credit to the faculty at South Suburban College. I mean, all I do as a president of South Suburban College is I'm a facilitator. I try to get the resources for the faculty to be able to do their jobs, and they are the real heart and soul of South Suburban College, and they're the ones that provide the training, and they're the ones that, for those students that are not quite sure what they want to do, the faculty are the ones that can spark an interest in something and get them on a path. So I just have to get that credit. But your question was, excuse me.
I wanted you to say that, by the way, because I wanted that just,
And
can
that's,
we dispel the myth?
that's
These-
unsolicited.
Yeah.
That's unsolicited.
Everybody's involved.
I truly believe, and in fact, I believe in all the staff at South Suburban College. We have a lot of caring and dedicated people that all they want to do is help folks to realize their dreams. That's what we do at South Suburban College. We help people, they get the training, they get their credential, whether it's a certificate or a degree, and then hopefully they can get a good job and have a better way of life for themselves and their families. That's what we do at South Suburban College. That's cool working there. But what do I do in my downtime? Well, I
Gotta have some downtime.
I see that you brought the bicycle helmet in here, and that's very apropos because
Very important for safety.
Because like you, I'm an avid bicyclist, and I try to. My job can be stressful at times. I love what I do. I have to say that I do love what I do, but it can be stressful at times because it's a $60 million operation. Roughly about 1,000 employees.
$60 million at South Suburban.
On any given day, there are a lot of things going on, but again, at the end of the day, I put it in perspective, and I know that we're helping folks in the community, and that's what I like about my job. But what I do for recreation, what I do for release, first and foremost is family. My family is the most important thing for me, and when I leave my job at the college and I go home, I look forward to seeing my wife. Now, my son has moved out. My daughter is going to be leaving us, unfortunately. I'd like her to stay, but she wants to go out on her own. But I love my family, I love my friends, and that's the most important thing to me in terms of a release and getting away from some of the pressures of work. But I also do things like I like to bicycle, like you do, and you and I have been out on some excursions. I like to mountain bike, I like to road bike.
Some we can talk about, some we can't.
I get in. I'm into physical fitness. I enjoy music. I like to go to concerts. So, I'm a big advocate of a balanced life, and I actually like to convey that to staff. I always tell people, don't be a workaholic. I mean, come in, put in your time, give us an honest day's work, but when you leave here, turn it off and enjoy your family and enjoy your life. And I think that's really important. It's important to have balance in life, and that's kind of my approach to things.
Wow. So as we wrap up today's interview, it's about balance, it's about working hard, it's about lifelong learning, it's about doing everything you can. I think, President Manning, you exude everything that South Suburban College should talk about here for the Southland. So thank you very much for what you do. Keep doing it for a long time, okay? Another 30 years?
I'm not sure about that, David. But
Anyway, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Keep up the good work. Keep helping people help themselves. Let's make it happen
Thanks for
here in
having
the
me on,
Southland.
David. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.